The Seven Kingdoms are the seven human kingdoms of the Eastern Kingdoms. That's a lot of kingdoms in one sentence. Most of the Eastern Kingdom's history exists and revolves around the Seven Kingdoms. As of now, post-Legion and pre-BFA, only Dalaran, Stormwind, Kulturas, Gilneas kind of exist. To talk about the Seven's history, one must go all the way back to the founding of Azeroth. Azeroth was the first human kingdom, comprised of tribes conquered by Thoradin, the technical first human king, to counter the growing threat of the Amani trolls in the regions near Hillsbrad and the Arathi Highlands. The nation then went on to ally themselves with Quel'Thalas, and through various campaigns named the Troll Wars, Azeroth and the High Elves were able to claim victory, bringing the Amani low and securing their nation's borders. While Thoradin went on a pilgrimage to see how the humans came to be, Azeroth began expanding, the first expansion being by a handful of human mages taught the arcane by the High Elves, who went on to establish the Magocracy of Dalaran, a place to study. To follow, Gilneas, Alterac, and Kulturas all established themselves in their respective locations in the north. Gilneas and Alterac went on to grow strong armies, using them to explore and take by force, while Kulturas began a mercantile trade network with the growing empire. Possibly one of the most notable city-states to rise during this time was Lordaeron, a state created by the nobility of Azeroth and the fertile farmlands of what would become Tearsful Glades. Meanwhile, the bloodline of Thoradin traveled far to the south and formed Stormwind, the future capital of the Grand Alliance. However, as the empire expanded further and further out, the Arathorian capital of Strom weakened and its influence faded. Eventually, the city-states would break off and form smaller kingdoms, the last to be founded being Stromgarde, based in Arathor's old capital. This would be the beginning of the Seven Kingdoms, which, for the first quarter, would see no conflict, for they all had high respect for one another. They were all a part of the same empire, after all. However, as time went on, political games and numerous conflicts would engulf the kingdoms. Alterac battled with rival Stromgarde over territory in Arathi and Hillsbrad. Gilneas attempted to compete at naval domination with Kulturas, leading to defeat. Lordaeron expanded its influence across most of the north, so much so that the entire northern continent of the Eastern Kingdoms would be named Lordaeron by the other kingdoms, and would be the strongest known power to mankind. The only kingdom not to have many hostile interactions with the others was Stormwind, who found themselves involved in a series of conflicts with the Gnolls and Gurubashi, respectively named the Gnoll Wars and the Gurubashi Wars. So what happened to all these kingdoms, and why do some exist and others do not? Well, it's very simple. Orcs. When the Orcs crossed over to Azeroth from Draenor, they sacked the Kingdom of Stormwind, leading to its downfall during the First War. This prompted the now Empire of Lordaeron to call for a Council of Nations after hearing the stories from the survivors of Stormwind, and after much consideration through refugees and a priest named Turelian, the Seven Kingdoms all threw their hat into the fold, forming the Alliance of Lordaeron. Through determination, combined might, and the addition of Quel'Thalas and Khazmodan, the Human Alliance was able to push the Orcs back from where they came, leaving the Sons of Lothar, led by Illyria and Turelian, to pursue them into the Dark Portal before it was closed shut by the mages of the Kirin Tor. However, during the war, Altrac's king, Perinold, conspired against the Alliance in favor of the Orcs over fears of his kingdom's safety. Once his treachery was discovered, Stromgarde invaded the Mountain Kingdom and toppled Perinold's regime, putting an end to one of the Seven Kingdoms. After the war, the Alliance of Lordaeron persisted, though barely. The kingdom and empire of Lordaeron became a seat of power for the Alliance, hosting petty squabbles between members and hearings of nobles. During this time, internment camps for the stranded Orcs were funded. Stromgarde demanded the annexation of Alterac's lands, and the High Elves became too cold of an ally to handle. The alliance eventually crumbled after Quel'Thalas declared independence, sparking Gilneas and Stromgarde to leave just after. During the Third War, the Scourge invasion of Lordaeron saw the fall of the Alliance capital and destruction of the strongest of the Seven Kingdoms. Gilneas built a wall to ward themselves off from the world. Kulturas preceded the fall of the Orcs to Kalimdor and dismantled Thrall's new horde under the command of Dalen Proudmoore, but failed at the hands of his own daughter. Stromgarde fell to the remnants of Alterac under the Syndicate and Ogres of the Boulderfist after the son of Thoras, king of Stromgarde, attempted to overthrow his father by assassinating him, which did kind of succeed in a way. Dalaran was destroyed by the Scourge and Archimonde upon his arrival on Azeroth, and all in all, the only kingdom to come out of the Third War unscathed was Stormwind, who had been rebuilding at the time under the rule of King Varian Wrynn, a proud supporter of Lordaeron and the Alliance. Eventually, Stormwind became the sole bastion of human leadership in the world, and it too the Alliance of Lordaeron. After a reformation that brought together races with a common cause, a new alliance began accepting and aiding in the reconstruction of the fallen kingdoms. Dalaran was rebuilt and began accepting non-human residents. Gilneas joined the alliance after the loss of their land to the Forsaken and the Worgen, and is currently rebuilding. Stromgarde, under the care of Danaf Trollbane, is currently being rebuilt as well, and I'm sure other of the 7 kingdoms are to follow. As Stormwind prospered, Stromgarde, Gilneas, and Kulturas began to rebuild what they lost, sharing a new hope for humanity on Azeroth, and perhaps, maybe even the 7 kingdoms. Thanks for watching.